Hi everyone, and welcome back to Why We Do It, the stories behind the stories in amateur sports, and to this particular special Eejitonabike series. This episode is very kindly sponsored by Pedal Power in West Calder. They command one of the biggest cycling retail floor spaces in Scotland, and they can advise on all aspects of cycling, from your kid's first bike right up to pro-level road and off-road bikes, e-bikes, accessories, and clothing. They also provide coaching, group rides, bike fit services, plus a superb workshop. Always friendly and incredibly helpful. I bought my first main road bike there a few years ago and have been using them ever since for all my cycling requirements. A top-notch outfit. That's Pedal Power, located on Main Street in West Calder.
I suspect most people didn't.
David, can you hear me?
I can, Jim. I'm delighted to be able to hear you. Yes.
Brilliant, and I'm delighted to be able to hear you. I promise you that. I'm not in my normal studio, and we don't normally do this live, but we are running live, and we have a few people watching live on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're obviously recording this for other people to watch later on, but wow. Normally, I have a load of questions, and I try to work out what I might ask you. I really couldn't come up with anything because I just thought, I'm so overwhelmed by what you've done that I thought we'd just let you tell us how you feel, how today's been, how the last week has been, and we can take it from there. So, how are you feeling right now? It must be.
I'm a bit more relaxed now. It was a bit of a shaky last couple of kilometres. It was probably quite helpful, Jim, that the traffic here is worse than you'd see in Balerno with traffic lights for roadworks. You could hardly move. So my bike skills have improved enormously in the last 43 days. So I weaved in and out among the traffic despite the cops and got here to the end faster than anybody else. I did have a little near miss today with about 30 kilometres to go. I'd just taken a sip of my water and I was checking the Wahoo to see how far was left to go. And it turns out that the road was really bad and my front tyre caught a ridge and I completely lost the bike. Both wheels went, and somehow or another, it was nothing to do with my bike handling skills. I stayed up. But with 30 kilometres to go, I have no idea how I was not all over the floor with blood everywhere. But thankfully, I survived.
The amazing thing about that is we were talking about maybe catching up on the podcast this morning before you did that last day. And part of me was nervous about having this last chat before you'd done the last day for exactly that reason.
Yeah.
You managed to come all these final hiccups and last moments. So that's incredible.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great now, and it's absolutely brilliant that Denise and Connor were here, because it kept me sort of some way right when I arrived. Connor had somehow co-opted some Moroccan fella to hold the Mayo flag with him for the photograph to be taken as well, which was quite good. So I've now got Moroccan Mayo supporters as well as the Mayo supporters I have from half of the planet.
I love the fact you've got the sun behind your head.
Oh, sorry. Do you want me to move? Okay, I'll move over here.
There's a lovely glow around your head coming from the sun directly behind your head.
How's that?
That's a little bit better. But I like the fact it was like a halo. It actually was quite appropriate to have this glow around your head because what you've done is physical, I think. And I mean, just talk us through this week. We spoke last weekend. We had 990 kilometers to go. How's this week been overall? Apart from just today, how's the week been?
Well, it was actually a really hard week, mostly because of the heat. I mean, I tried so hard to get a lot done every day before 1 o'clock. But there was days I was just too tired, and there was, I don't know, was it 2 or 3 days ago, I had to stop about 30 kilometers early because at 5 o'clock in the evening, I just could not bear the heat. Obviously, I had Pico day was the morning was tough, but the day before was much tougher because that was 2,500 or 3,000 meters or something climbing that day, and it ended up in a ski resort, the Sierra Nevada ski resort, and it was a job to find someplace to eat. And in fact, that was the problem all week because the Spaniards didn't want to feed me until 8:30, 7:30, and at 8:30 I meant to be fast asleep. So I was scrounging everywhere, and as you know, some of the pictures of my food is not really what people would be considering for an elite athlete. So it's a good job I'm not an elite athlete. Anyway,
We're
the
jumping
week was
around subjects, but you're throwing up things I'm keen to ask about. But you talked about being in bed last night. That wasn't really the case. You were sending me a message pretty late last night. You weren't going to bed
well.
by 8 o'clock last night. What happened there? A bit of a party.
So I was out cycling, as you know, yesterday, and Robert came along, and I didn't know it was Robert, and he shouted out the window, "Hurry up, you old!" And you know what the other word was. And I'm thinking, geez, that sounded Scottish. And but of course, my first reaction was second word off, which gave him a great laugh. And then 2 or 3 kilometers up the hill, there he was. So that was the first I knew that he was coming. And I knew Denise and Connor were coming, but I didn't really realise they'd be there. So I stayed in Rhondda last night in a palatial apartment, nothing like the slumming jobs I'd be doing most times. And we went out for dinner. And it was just lovely, and it was nice and relaxed because I knew I'd only 128 kilometers today, and I knew it was only about 1,600 meters of climbing, so it wasn't going to be hard, and it didn't really matter what time I finished, so I didn't care what time I got to bed. I didn't have to wash kit, I didn't have to charge kit, I didn't have to do anything. It was like being back home. It was lovely.
I was surprised to see you up late, but I was pleased to see you were on the road at a good time this morning. It was about, what, 7 o'clock your time?
No, it was 10 to 8 this morning.
Oh, okay.
It was 36 degrees this afternoon until I got up over the big hill, and the wind brought the temperature back down again to about, I don't know, late 20s or something. So it's lovely here now.
It felt like today was like the last stage of the Tour de France. There was a bit of a kind of celebratory ride in.
Yes, yeah. It gave me a lot of time today just to think and reflect on the 43 days a little bit. And it was lovely. I knew it wasn't going to be hard, although at this stage, a 2% gradient for anything more than 50 meters is hard. But I knew there wasn't going to be anything that would be difficult. One of the difficult bits is about a 20-kilometer stretch of road where there's 3 lanes of traffic and overtaking lanes, and they just don't give you any room, and it's a bit scary. But I managed it, and I didn't take a lot of photographs this afternoon, because I just had a lot of time to think, and it was lovely.
Take us back a couple of days, because we spoke with 990 kilometers to go, and you were 4 days, I think, away from the Pico checkpoint. The Pico checkpoint looked like it was absolutely brutal. Tell us about your experience going up that and having to walk some of it because of the gravel and the rocks.
Yeah, the only thing I can liken it to is climbing Crowpatrick, except 3 times higher. Crowpatrick is the holy mountain. The folks from Mayo will know it. To go up to the church and come back down again. And that's all it was. You went up to this derelict building and came back down again. The gravel was horrendous, and as you know, I'm a scaredy cat on the gravel, so going up, I walked maybe a couple of the kilometres. As I said to Marek, our neighbour, the altitude didn't bother me at all because I was so slow anyway. Any less oxygen didn't make a slightest bit of difference. So, in fact, I had more trouble walking up the stairs in the ski resort before I went up Pico than I did cycling up Pico. It seems to me that I have only got cycling fitness. I have nothing else.
Yeah, I saw a video of someone else getting up to the top of that, and I had seen that before we spoke last week. I assumed you probably knew that, but I wasn't going to get into the detail at that point. I didn't want to talk too much about what you were facing when you got there. But I was so pleased to see you getting down from that and having that behind you.
Yeah, so was I. That was definitely a big thing in my head the whole time. So, but as Martin Gemmell said on the chat someplace, you knew about it, so stop moaning. So I'm not moaning.
There we go. So I'm just looking at the tracker, David. It's on another screen here. And I just want to say this kind of very slowly. It says distance to go 0.00. Distance completed 7,379.74 kilometers.
Yes.
Total time was 43 days, 16 hours and 37 minutes, out of which you were moving 19 days and 8 hours of non-stop moving.
Yes.
I mean,
So
as I said to you before, it's hard to actually visualize how far that is. It's like trying to understand the difference between a billion and a trillion. It's hard to visualize, it's hard to actually empathize with that. How do you feel when you look back on 7,379 kilometers?
well, I mean, it's 43 times about 175. And 175 isn't very far. So, in fact, if you look at it, I'm obviously a lazy old git because my moving speed's pretty good relative to most people. It's just I need so much more sleep than everybody else. So, if I could only find a way to deal without the sleep, I might be able to do these things a lot quicker. But I guess that would the people on the chat might be upset then because they seem to all have enjoyed the crack and are now wondering what the hell they're going to do tomorrow. I know what I'm not doing tomorrow. I am not cycling, and that's the most wonderful feeling in the world.
So let's talk about that. You said you were going to throw your bike in the sea. I hope you changed your mind on that. And
Well,
what are you going to be doing for the next few days?
So Denise has a place booked here in Tarifa, so we're going out for probably some civilized food tonight, maybe even fish. Tuna, actually, because that's what Tarifa's famous for, Connor told me. I think we'll stay another night, and then I am delighted to say I'm flying back to Scotland on Tuesday. I'll spend a couple of days there, and then I'm going to Ireland on a world tour of Ireland. And anybody who's on this chat from Ireland is more than welcome to enjoy and join a world tour of Guinness drinking for as long as it lasts.
Absolutely brilliant. So when do
What's that?
when do you get to Ireland, and when do you get back to Scotland?
I'm back hopefully in Scotland on Tuesday night.
Right. Okay.
Sorry. Wednesday, I think it is. Yeah, okay. Early Wednesday.
Okay. Before you started this, David, I was saying that you were going to try and do this, and I remember thinking, "Oh, what you must be absolutely mad." And at a couple of stages through this journey, it was in the last few weeks, talking to you on a couple of different weekends, I did have my concerns that you might not be able to do it. There was the time when your knee was hurting, and then there was bike issues. But you seem to have just pulled through each of those little hurdles, all of those little difficulties. And how do you feel overall in terms of strength? Because it seems like you got used to it, and you adjusted, and you got into a steady rhythm. It probably could have gone on forever, but maybe it doesn't feel like that to you now. So in the early phases, and not so much the latter stages.
Yeah, so you may have noticed at one stage on the chat, my elder brother, John, talking about what it is to be from Mayo, and one of the things he said was, we don't whinge. So I had to stop whinging very quickly, otherwise he'd have been looking down on me and giving me dog's abuse for whinging. So I just got on with it, and most of the issues, especially my own knees and ankles and legs and back and everything, they became just things you tolerated. And when anything went wrong on the bike, my good friend John Grindley was available at short notice and helped me figure out what I should and what I shouldn't do. So I've been cycling the last 3 days on a rear tire that is definitely not at the inflation level I'd like it to have. And it's probably because the valve core is gunched up with the sealant. And John told me, don't change it because you'll have more trouble than it's worth. But anyway, he was there all the time, and that made such a big difference. But Jim, and this is an important thing for me to say, everybody was there all the time. It's I doubt very much there's anybody else in the world that has family and friends that support them as much as mine. Whether they're the ones that take the piss or the ones that are constantly geeing me on, I have to be the luckiest person on this planet. And I am absolutely certain there is no way I would have finished this without all of that support day after day after day. And I just want everybody to know, I'll never forget it.
I think the chat on the channel has been incredible. There's been some real characters that have come through on there. Probably the main characters are listening in live. So well done to you all for keeping David going on. It's been a phenomenal thing to watch it go through. And as I said to you in a message this morning, David, I don't know if you've kind of picked it up, but what you've done is so incredible. I think this is going to define you for a long, long time. People talking about you doing this when they see you again for the next probably 20 plus years. It is that big a deal. I think this is, I know a lot of people, I think this morning, I know a lot of people have done extreme things. There was a stage where people thought I had done extreme things, but it's nothing compared to this. This is off the scale. And I'm just so pleased you got there. I'm so pleased you can look back on this for the rest of your life as a success, because boy, you deserve that.
So Jim, I don't want to underplay it at all, but Connor once said to me, anybody can do these things, it's just they don't want to. And I am 100% certain that there's a lot of people on this chat, particularly the cyclists in Belerno, who could do 175 or 80 kilometers a day. They just don't want to. The pride in me in this isn't in the 7,300 and whatever the hell it is I cycled. It's the support that I got for 43 brilliant days. It's the nearly £50,000 that have been donated to try and deliver opportunities to people who don't have them, like I've been given. And if people are talking about this in a few months' time, I hope what they're talking about is how can we continue to do things that will deliver these opportunities for people that are a lot less fortunate than people like me, because that's the big thing to be proud of. People dug deep in their pockets. Some of the people on the chat who have repeatedly given money to me, who don't have money to give, they're just the real heroes and legends, as the word's being used a lot. People who, with just a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of push, are prepared to put their hands deep into their pockets to support a charity like Coco, and more importantly, to support the people that Coco support. And that's what this was all about for me from day one.
And you total is at the moment, David?
What's that?
What was the last total on the fundraising that you were aware of?
I think it's 46 or 47,000. Carton reckons it's 50 with tax back. But I have some people who are trying to work some magic with the news stations and the newspapers in Ireland, and also Tom Gilhooly, somebody that has to be mentioned on the chat, who is trying to get Celtic to do something. So I'm hopeful that more money will come in. Maybe we won't get to the 60, but it's a big number already. And I'm really proud of that more than anything.
It's 47.5 as it stands. There's been donations today.
Has there? Okay.
So you're well on your way to.
I was getting so much criticism for texting while I'm cycling that I didn't dare look at the total on the fundraising page while I was cycling as well. That definitely wouldn't be kosher.
Well, I think we all would have probably been a bit upset for you if you'd gone off your bike with less than 50 kilometers to go because you're looking at your phone. So that's great news. You didn't do that. And now you can do that to the arts content for weeks ahead. Exactly. And are you still content that you're not going to get on a bicycle by the end of before the end of this year?
Well, I'm going to Australia, as you know, with my lovely wife, sometime in October. So I certainly won't be cycling in October, November, December. I might go out for a social ride, but certainly not before September. And it's a possibility that I'll be too drunk to ride in September, because I'm going to make sure I take every opportunity to drink as much Guinness as I have. Denise put her arms around me yesterday and told me I felt like a skeleton. So it does appear that for the first time I've ever done one of these things, I've lost a lot of weight. And the only way I can think to put that weight back on is copious amounts of Guinness.
Talking about all your weight loss, He did post on it this morning that he's had a picture of you,
Yes.
which suggested scantily clad. I was really hoping that you wouldn't post that today. We haven't seen that picture yet.
Yes.
Maybe at some point that's going to show up.
I'm hoping she'll be brave enough to put it up. She wasn't last night. I think it looks brilliant. I think I look outstanding. She's actually going to auction the picture. It's that bad or good, depending on which way you want to look at it.
Auction the picture. That is a genius idea. Absolute genius idea.
Yes.
Okay, David. We've been going for 18 minutes. I'm going to wrap it in a second because it's perfectly long enough. We've had a bunch of people watching live, which is fantastic. Last comments from you. I can see you struggling to hear me, but any last thing you want to say, and then we'll wrap it up there, and then you catch up with everybody that you catch up with.
So, Jim, the only small thing I want to say, and I don't want to make too big a point of it, is the amount of money that's been raised is nearly a quarter of Coco's annual turnover. So it's a big amount, and it took 43 days. And all I would say is the opportunity that will give to people is massive. And I hope that Coco reflects on what's happened and thinks about how it can repeat things like this. A small little bit of inspiration, as you can see, brings a huge number of people along, puts their hands deep into their pockets and donates an awful lot of money for good causes. There is no reason why that's only possible once off. And I hope that with the leader that Coco has and his influence around the world, he can see that and he can make the most of it. I just really, I love the charity. You and I have spoken about Mary's Meals before, and when asked, the leader of that one said, well, God will provide. Unfortunately, God isn't involved in every charity, and therefore other charities can't depend on God providing. And I just hope that Coco look at what's happened in the last 43 days and see it as a new way of perhaps doubling or more their income in the coming years. It won't be me because I'm not doing another one of these, but I'd happily.
You are such a rare breed, though, David. I do remember you talking about that's what it would take to make a big difference. I remember going, yeah, but no one can do that. That's mad. It's impossible. And you've just proven me completely wrong. So what we did is on the bike or something like that, and names like that, that you're the type of people that are strong enough mentally, going back to what Connor was saying. Physical is one thing. There's probably only 30-40% of this. I think you're right. Many people probably could physically do it. But the mental demand, day in, day out, whether that builds people, mental demand is a thing, and you are a professionally rare person. So hopefully we can find other people. Coco can find other people who are as mad as that. But once again, well done. Absolutely incredible. I'm so glad you made it. I was a bit nervous a couple of times, but then I guess that's the nature of these things. If it was a complete walk in the park, easy, it wouldn't have been as significant as it is. But yeah, unbelievable. Go away, have a brilliant evening, get smashed, and enjoy the rest of the week, and just slowly coming down from this incredible thing. You'll be chased and hounded by people. People want to talk about this for weeks, so enjoy every minute of it.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you for all your support right throughout the whole thing. It's been brilliant, and just make sure you get the money from Pedal Power.
I'm on it. Definitely. I called it. The numbers have gone up on the live feed as we've been doing this. So if you've joined us late, this will be published later on this evening as a recorded episode on the channel. Thanks for listening in live. David, unbelievable. Say hi to Denise and Connor and all your friends there, and just have a brilliant time.
Okay, look after yourself, Jim. I'm going to go and get smashed with my lovely wife and my lovely son.
Quite right. Have fun.
Take it easy. Okay, God bless.